Hello, today I'm going to be trying to write a simple game, and I thought I'd start out by talking about objects. So I've got an object here already set up. Everything in between these two curly braces is stored in this wall variable, and so wall.x, the dot is how you access objects interior. So wall.x would be equal to 176. And here we have a function, and the input to the function is named obj. So if I pass wall into the function, then obj.x would be 176. So clearing that away for a second, if you haven't seen this, this is how you set up an image variable. And this is how you draw the image variable. And there's two other parameters, the dimensions of the image variable. Now, putting all that stuff back that I had before. So draw wall is sort of a function wrapper for the image function. It just like takes the object and parses it into its different parameters so that the image function can handle it. Because I couldn't very well say image wall. That would throw an error. So I hope you understand the purpose of draw wall now. Now, to make a game, I'm going to do the exact same type of thing, but instead of a wall, I'm going to make a character object that has some other image. So now I need to make a helper function that I could actually make this more general. I like to have my variables near the top all together. So draw object is general, so there wasn't any point in copying it and naming it something else. I just need one wrapper function for the image that will parse the objects, since these objects are like nearly identical in that they all have x and y's. So I can make my character start at a different location. And I'm going to set up a draw Now, the next key element for making a game work would be to get your character to be able to move around. So here is some critical code for that. So in a previous video, I was talking about a game, and in a different video, I was talking about collision detections. And I am going to splice this video into the game video, but I just wanted to come here because I need this collision function also for the games. So it's a function that takes a rect that has x, y, width, and height as parameters. And in the game video that I was just on, that I'm about to splice this into, hopefully it's not too confusing and it just smoothly runs in. In this one, the objects that we're going to be colliding have x, y, and w and h, so I'm actually going to have to modify it a little bit. So I'll just paste that in, here, and do some replacements so that it will work with the objects that we set up in that last video, which for you hopefully is the same video. And one other thing that I changed in the in-between time, I'll just run down and explain. When I left off last time, I was talking about how I wanted to get my character to be able to move around. So I copied this code from yet another program, and to my character object, I put another property called mod for modify, short for modify, which is this function. All of this entire function is the mod property. So remember, you would access like character.x, you can say character.mod and then 2 parentheses to access that function. See right here, I'm calling the function that is stored here in the character object, and it just looks at the true or false values that are stored in the keys array. I'm sure I've talked about that in other videos, but I might as well do that again. If I push left, then this thing right here, which is element of the keys array, is either false or true, depending on whether or not I'm holding down that arrow. So I don't know what that is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 some odd, maybe like 20 some odd. Like the index key is 20, and if keys 20 some odd is true, then subtract from the x value. This .x means character.x because it's within the scope of the character object, because it's right in between these two curly brackets. So I can access it with the keyword this. So this thing right here, which gets initialized as 76, is now more like 50 or 40 or whatever. And one advantage of keys arrays is that you can hold down multiple keys. See, there's 2 true values, and he's moving diagonally. It allows you to do more than one at the same time. So that's how to put a function into an object and call it that way. You could also have a draw function in each of these objects and get rid of this guy. But let's move onwards instead of backwards. We got this collide function, and hopefully we've got it rewritten to work in this program. So we're going to need to call collide somewhere. And in fact, mod is called from the draw, and that is probably going to be the best place to call collide from. Here's the ending curly bracket for mod. So before I do that, I'm going to set up some temp variables. And then I'm going to, so you set up the temp variables, whatever the x value is before you try to do any kind of movement, you're essentially saving that. And then if you click left, then say for example my character is right here, and I click left, it subtracts from that x value, and now the rectangle that defines my character is now overlapping, just like how these rectangles are overlapping, and so it's going to return true on the collision detection when I call it right here. So I'm going to say if COLIDE this, and I'm going to pass in the entire object. I'm not going to put a dot. I'm just going to pass in the entire character object into this collide function. So that's one of my rectangles. It doesn't matter that it has all these other properties. All that it matters is that when collide goes in and looks for .x, .w, whatnot, those are all there and defined within that rect object. And the other thing that I need to collide is the wall. And that's defined in the scope of the whole program, so it ought to be accessible within the scope of the character object. So I don't need to worry about like passing it in as a variable or anything. So if that collision returns true, then I just need to reset these variables. So I just write this backwards essentially. This.x equals tx. Just undo that movement that caused you to have a collision. Now, do I still have prints? Get rid of those. And I actually want to move my things a little bit faster. Hopefully you've seen the shorthand plus equals and plus plus and those types of things. Click restart to redefine that function. And now, see, I'm holding the up key, and this wall is indeed stopping my character. From all the different sides. So that's it for this video. Hopefully they splice together smoothly.